Beyond what they told us. So anyway, thank you for coming out. It's terrific to be here. It's, I guess, my 5th New York Times bestseller now. And this book, in a nutshell, kind of came off the last one. When we wrote American Conspiracies, of course, if you write contrary to the standard belief or the government story or what mainstream tells you happened, you get labeled a conspiracy theorist. And I often laugh at that term because generally the government is only supplying you a theory too. So how is it that theirs is for sure right and all the others are wrong? And so anyway, in doing American Conspiracies, Dick Russell and I took so much heat over a lot of it that we thought, the next book, let's do something that they can't question us. Let's go and find government documents and use their documents and make a book out of their behavior, for lack of a better term. And we actually started this project about 3 or 4 months before WikiLeaks broke. And we were ecstatic over WikiLeaks. It gave us that much more to look at once it came in the public domain. I can tell you everything in this book is legal. We stole nothing. There's nothing that's not out there. You just have to go find it. And a lot of these documents are very disturbing. In doing this book, I began to think of my country now as the United States of hypocrisy. Because we seem to talk one thing, but the documents state that we're behaving in a completely opposite manner. So that's reality. Reality, people, are the documents. These documents, I don't make them up. We print them in their entirety in the book. You can read them yourself. That's one enjoyable thing about the book. You don't have to read it cover to cover. You can look at a particular document, and if that document is something you're really interested in, you can just read that. They're all separate. They all cover different lengths of time, going back, I guess, in my lifetime pretty much. And some of it is quite embarrassing, in my opinion. People say, and when you look at the situation today, I hope it's becoming clear to everyone that it doesn't matter who you elect, if they're Democrats or Republicans. The two parties, people, are the problem. And we got warned by our forefathers, Tom Jefferson, George Washington, and John Adams. They told us that the fall of our country would be when the political parties took control of the government. It's there, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you my quick opinion. We can stop it. But I was so disappointed in Minnesota in the last election. We provided an independent candidate that was the most qualified to be governor, was endorsed by myself and 3 or 4 other former governors, both newspapers, a former U.S. senator, and he got 12% of the vote in what's supposed to be the bastion for the third party, Minnesota. Now, I'll admit he didn't quite have my personality. But we shouldn't be electing people based on personality, ladies and gentlemen. We should elect them based on qualifications and who they are. And we've got all these sex scandals now again going on. And I always take it to the bigger picture. When you have a system created, and let's be clear, every problem in our country today, we can attribute to the Democrats and the Republicans. They have been in charge for the last century. They are responsible fully. I will tell you, you want to know the key to winning the elections against them? I'm open about it now. Here's how I do it. You don't run against the individual, you run against their party. Because their parties are so corrupt, so dishonest, it's easy to beat them. They have nothing that they can stand for in the end. So don't run against the person, run against the party. You notice my ads, we never mentioned my opponent's name. All we mentioned was what they were doing. working with the system. And this book, I wrote it. It wasn't a fun book. I love my country. I can shamelessly plug my website now. I have one, weaintgottimetobleed.com, and I've started a t-shirt that I will take full credit for, and I hope it catches on. It's called I Love My Country, Not My Government. Because I believe you can say that and still be patriotic. And I can say it because my government is Democrats and Republicans, and I despise them completely. They've ruined my country. They're ruining a great nation, and they're responsible. But ultimately, it's our responsibility, isn't it?
You got it.
Do you want to know what would be an easy way to start? I now don't support the third-party movement. Let me state that unequivocally. I support abolishing political parties and turning them into political action committees, which is what they are anyway. And one of the first things we could do, rather than putting on the ballot gay marriage, I don't care about gay marriage. I've been married 36 years and it doesn't affect me. It's none of my business. What I'd rather see on the ballot, is remove all party designation from candidates. Print only their name. Because it's too easy to go in and vote for a party. They want you voting for a party rather than a person, which is what you do now. And also, let's add to every ballot, let's vote on this and add to every ballot on the bottom, none of the above. which you laugh about that, but what that is, that's a vote of no confidence in government. Now imagine hypothetically for a moment if you're the Republican and you defeat your Democratic opponent, but you actually lose to none of the above. Wouldn't that make you rethink your position when you got in there? I couldn't beat anybody. I'm elected, because of course you can't elect none of the above, but it's a statement. And I think just those two simple things could go miles to helping us take our country back. We better hurry, because as I get older, Mexico becomes more attractive to me. Just two things on Mexico, food for thought. We always laugh about that country and say how corrupt their government is, which it is, I guess. Yeah, but we go in with that knowledge, but for having such a corrupt government, do you know what they do when my wife and I are considering becoming Mexican residents or citizens, because it's easy crossing the border if you're a citizen of both countries and have dual citizenship. But there's other reasons. Did you know that if you're a Mexican citizen and you turn 65, they cut your property taxes in half? Anyone get that in the United States? Anyone up here get turn 65 and you're on fixed income, so the government cuts you some slack and cuts you, okay. Well, for all us regular people too, in Mexico, when you pay your taxes, they're due in March. Well, if you pay them in January, they knock off 20%. If you pay them in February, they knock off 10%. March is normal, and then the fines start. That's called rewarding good behavior and penalizing bad. We do the opposite, thanks to the Democrats and Republicans. I'll end on that pretty much and just finish by saying an old nostalgic thing. Maybe it'll all affect you. How do you like those license tabs now? I like what those Dems and Repubs did, putting you back on an 8-year sales tax. Wasn't that sweet of them? If they needed more money, why didn't they just raise the flat rate? Instead, they go back to an 8-year sales tax for all of you. You buy a new car, you pay sales tax when you buy it, but now because of your tabs and the value of your car again, which I destroyed, they brought it back. You pay for 8 years sales tax for 8 straight years just to drive your car. They're lovely, aren't they? And let me add this for all gay people. I worked for 4 years to get you benefits from the state. And notice it was the Democrats, that was the first thing they bargained back to the Republicans. So you don't have benefits anymore. How sad. in the United States of hypocrisy. Any questions? I'll take a few and then we'll sign some books.